How should you feel about your favorite team's NFL future? It's been a strange year in the NFL, so this year we're going to try to predict the unpredictable. We are going to try to predict every current NFL team's level of optimism right now. I did a tier list because that's how Big Cat makes his money. So we're going to try that. So here we go. I opened the wrong tab. We're going to open the correct tab this time. We are going to open our NFL tier list, predicting every team's level of optimism. So I have 8 tiers here. Dynasty Watch. These are for teams that are going to annoy the hell out of the league pretty soon because they're so good. It's kind of how a dynasty works. The next tier down is called Oh So Close to Taking That Next Step, BBs. For teams who are just right there, but there's just one little thing away. The Listen to the Encouraging Old Black Woman tier. I'll explain that tier in a second, but for those of you who watched the news this week, you'll understand. The Same as Above, but with a longer road to get there tier is just for teams who have a lot of reasons for optimism, but they have a lot of things they need to fix. They have a lot of just general things they need to work on, or they need a lot more pieces before they can actually reach playoff potential. The At Least Chris Collinsworth Likes You tier, which is basically just teams that are more fun than good. The next tier down is for Purgatory, because the Pittsburgh Steelers, the We Better Hope Our High Draft Picks Pan Out tier, because these are teams who are rebuilding, but they also have a lot of high draft picks, either in this upcoming draft or currently on the roster. And finally, the final tier on our list is the Lord Have Mercy on Our Souls tier, which is for teams like this. The Arizona Cardinals are going to the Lord Have Mercy on Our Souls tier. Oh my God. There is no team in the league right now that should feel more pessimistic than the Arizona Cardinals. They're like the non-playable character of the NFL right now. It seems like no one cares about them. They just fired Jonathan Gannon. It seems like they're kind of in the divorce process with Kyler Murray. There's really not a lot of reason to feel hope right now. It seems like they're wasting the careers of Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. Budda Baker's still the guy who got chased down by DK Metcalf. Marvin Harrison Jr. has not really stepped up to his full potential yet. So I kind of have the Arizona Cardinals at the Lord Have Mercy on Our Souls tier. The Atlanta Falcons were a lot harder to rank than I thought they would be, because they have Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts for 2 games a year, Michael Penix if he pans out. This one was difficult. I thought about putting them in the We Better Hope Our High Draft Picks Pan Out tier solely because of those guys. They need to hire a head coach. They need to still see if their new system can work out. They do have good offensive pieces. They still need to see if Michael Penix is the guy. So for now, I'm going to put them in the Same as Above, but with a longer road to get there tier, because they have the pieces, but they're not quite playoff level yet. They were just in one of the worst divisions in football this year. I'm not sure I believe in them yet, but they have an avenue to get there. They have studs. Bijan Robinson's the best running back in the NFL. Their pass rush got way better, and I'm just a fan of the pieces they do have. They just haven't really put it all together yet. So that's why I'm putting them in the Same as Above, but with a longer road to get there tier. The Baltimore Ravens. They're an interesting case. Lamar Jackson's going to do Lamar Jackson when he's healthy. Derrick Henry still has quads the size of tackling dummies, but they really have to start from scratch in a lot of aspects. They just fired John Harbaugh, and it also seems like they might lose Todd Monken to a head coaching gig, which is tough because they just lost Mike McDonald a couple years ago to the Seahawks. For now, the Ravens are fun. They're going to be on a lot of highlight reels, but I'm not convinced they're good quite just yet. Kyle Hamilton's a stud. Kyle Van Noy's a stud. They have a decent offensive line. Zay Flowers is an adequate wide receiver 1. So they're fun, but not quite good yet, which is why I'm going to place them in the At Least Chris Collinsworth Likes You tier. They could move up if Lamar Jackson gets healthy. The Buffalo Bills. I love this team. They're so much fun to watch. They're in the playoffs every year, but Josh Allen just hasn't taken that next step yet, which is why I believe the Buffalo Bills are in the oh so close to taking that next step BB's tier. The Bills still have a lot of things to figure out, like Sean McDermott, the guy. Are they going to get a wide receiver 1 who's going to feud with Josh Allen every time he has the audacity to target a tight end? The Bills will be good, but they just need a few things to figure out before they really reach that upper echelon. Now, before I get to the Carolina Panthers, because that's next in the alphabetical order tier, I'm going to go to the reason this tier exists, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
How you doing today? Lynn Jones, Jacksonville Free Press News. I just want to tell you congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
You did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm obviously going to place the Jacksonville Jaguars in the Listen to the Encouraging Old Black Woman tier because she rules, and the Jags really have a lot of reasons for optimism. Like, Liam Cohen is a remarkable hire by the Jags. You can figure out how good a head coaching hire is based on two things: how good the team they go to improves, and how much the team they left regresses. Liam Cohen is a phenomenal fit for a head coach. He's unlocked Trevor Lawrence. The offense has gotten so much better. They've played a lot more consistent. They really made it a game against the Buffalo Bills in the wildcard round. I see no reason for them to be despondent about the playoff loss. I know obviously every team is bummed about losing in the playoffs, but the Jags are going to be good for years to come. They have Travis Hunter coming back next year. They have Jacoby Myers on a 3-year deal. Brian Thomas makes a catch every now and then. Like, with Liam Cohen and their team that's really starting to find their full potential, I really see them being good and for quite a while. I am also going to put the Carolina Panthers in this tier. This year's Carolina Panthers are insanely likable, but they still have to figure out if Bryce Young is the guy. Like, they've done everything to surround him with talent. They've invested in their O-line. They got him a QB wizard of a head coach. They got him a wide receiver one who's legit. And most importantly, even though they fell to the LA Rams in the wildcard round, they made it a hell of a contest. They have good young pieces, and they have a will to win in this organization. They just squeaked out the NFC South by the absolute slimmest of margins. They have a really good young roster, and as far as I can tell, Jonathan Brooks is just lurking in the distance. The Carolina Panthers really have a reason to listen to the words of a woman who sounds like she makes the world's greatest mac and cheese. The Chicago Bears. I love this team. They're so much fun to watch, and Caleb Williams does such fun shit at quarterback. He plays like a guy who commits a lot of turnovers, but he really doesn't. He only threw 7 picks this year. And by the way, you know who threw 8? Jake Browning. Gross. They made one of the best head coaching hires of this past offseason with Ben Johnson. He's really gelled with Caleb Williams. Their defense turns the ball over. Their running game's adequate. Colston Loveland has really come into his own in the last half of the year. However, I am going to put them in the oh so close to taking that next step BB's tier. The one thing that's stopping them from being in the Dynasty Watch tier is the fact that they really have a tendency to sometimes give up a lot of points. They gave up 40 plus to Joe Flacco. But this Bears team, they are legit. They really are. They traded their number 1 pick in the 2023 draft for a draft haul from the Panthers, and that first round pick that they got back from the Panthers turned into Caleb Williams. That's the Herschel Walker trade of this decade. But like I said, if their defense can really work on stopping their opponents and becoming a stout defense, they could enter Dynasty Watch, but they're so close for now. My beloved Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I'm going to put them in this tier with authority, and I will die on this hill. I will fully stand by this. I am putting the Cincinnati Bengals in the at least Chris Collinsworth likes you tier. For one, this team is way more fun than good. Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Jermaine Burton. Oh, he's gone, isn't he? He's gone. Like, when the Bengals are good, they are as fun as any team in the league. But their defense is just so inconsistent. It really is. When their defense struggles, they are atrocious. That said, they did get better as the year went on, but that's because the bar was so low. Also, if you hate that tier, Chris Collinsworth likes the Bengals. He moved PFF to Cincinnati. He talks up Joe Burrow a lot, as should all of you. He just has to appear unbiased while he's talking about them. Bengals fans who think Chris Collinsworth hates the Bengals are the real homers themselves. The Cleveland Browns. The Browns are in an interesting position. You know, they have a lot of good pieces on their roster, and they have a much improved defense. And all that took place with an offensive head coach, who, mind you, just got fired. They do have a good offensive system with Harold Fannin and a bunch of capable QBs who can get them by for the time being. However, for now, I am going to put them in the we better hope our high draft picks pan out tier. They do need a true passing game, and in that offense, I don't think they have a true franchise piece in that passing game outside of Harold Fannin. They also need a head coach who isn't a schmuck. And they currently have the 6th overall pick in this upcoming NFL draft, which they could use on a target for insert QB here. And now I know their quarterback situation isn't the best right now, but I don't think they need to draft a quarterback right at this very second. If they don't do well in 2026, get one in 2027. For now, you had a good draft class in 2025 and have that same draft for 2026. And once you get that franchise quarterback in 27, it's going to be much better. The Dallas Cowboys. Them boys! You guys are going in the at least Chris Collinsworth likes you tier. This team loves being fun. They love putting asses in seats. They're consistently hyped up by ESPN every year, which is why I stopped watching ESPN and turned to content creators. They're much more fun. The one thing stopping me from being on board with the Cowboys fully is literally everything. They're all talk and barely have anything in this current era to show for it, besides a bunch of flashy players. I like Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are awesome. Javonte Williams has had a huge rebound year. But as far as their team is concerned, they've only had 4 playoff wins in this century, and they were all in the wild card round. They just couldn't put it together on defense, which is why they rightfully got rid of Matt Eberflus. I am not taking them out of this tier until Roger Goodell takes that computer mouse out of my cold, dead. The Denver Broncos have everything they need to formulate a dynasty, but they strike me as a team that just isn't good enough, which is why I am putting them in the oh so close to taking that next step BB's tier. They won a lot of close games this year. They were 11-2 in one-score games, and that was the best record in one-score games in the NFL. But it's also an apt way to determine which teams are on fraud alert. The one thing stopping me from truly believing in this team is that their offensive pieces aren't really explosive enough for them to dominate opponents. They seem to be sold on having a wide receiver core that is Buffalo Bills level. I like Cortland Sutton, he's a good receiver, but I don't see him as a number one. I don't really fully believe in them yet. Like, their final results don't really move the needle for me, but once they get explosive players, they could be in a much, much better place. And those players are a lot easier to find than people realize. Get a motherfucking receiver. The Detroit Lions are so likable, I can't stand it, which is why I am absolutely putting them in the listen to the encouraging old black woman tier. Dan Campbell needs a hug after this season. Dan Campbell's the kind of guy that would break down in tears if that Jags reporter talked to him like that. The Lions have a ton of awesome players. They just need to get healthy and stay healthy, because injuries have been a pretty consistent problem for them over the last few years. They did kind of struggle with the departures of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and the injuries didn't help, but they are still a team that has Dan Campbell's spirit. He's there. I like the guy. So listen to the encouraging old black woman. Oh, the Green Bay Packers. They're pretty complicated. They have Jordan Love, who's good, but he's about as hard to gauge in terms of talent as any QB in the league. He has great games, but he doesn't really have that superstar moment, even in games when he's been elite. Is it coaching? Is it the fact that he still doesn't have an established wide receiver one? Who knows? They got screwed by injuries all year. Micah Parsons, ACL, Tucker Kraft, ACL, a bunch of other players just cooked. They could be in the listen to the encouraging old black woman tier, but they need to get healthier and they need to figure out if Matt LaFleur is the coach for them, which is why I'm putting them in the same as above, but with a longer road to get there tier. It could be purgatory, but they're actually a decent team when they're fully healthy, which is why I'm putting them in the tier that I did. Houston Texans. This one's obvious. They are in the oh so close to taking that next step BB's tier. The Texans defense is elite, but their offense is inconsistent. If they can figure out their offensive inconsistency, they could be a Super Bowl contender even before CJ Stroud's rookie deal is up. So that's why I'm putting them in that tier. The Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts at their peak were one of the most fun teams in the NFL. Daniel Jones took everyone by surprise. Jonathan Taylor, just absolute truck. They are one of the teams to watch in this offseason. I don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be there long term. He could be. I have no idea. They also need to figure out if Sauce Gardner is the guy. They also need to figure out if Sauce Gardner is worth the 2 first-round picks that they no longer have. And as of now, it hasn't really worked out, but there's still a ton of time, which is why I am putting them in the same as above, but with a longer road to get there tier. And also, they have a much longer road to returning to relevance. And every team in their division has gotten so much better. The Kansas City Chiefs. The Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, buddy. This was a tough stretch. They seem to know what they want, but they don't really know how to get it. They need a quarterback with their first overall pick that it seems like no team is going to get from them, even at gunpoint. They really need Fernando Mendoza, who really appears to be Joe Burrow with Tim Tebow's personality. My guy would only go to Topgolf for the appetizers. He'd be home by 7:30. This is going to be about as big of a testament as to see whether or not organizations fail quarterbacks or if quarterbacks fail organizations. Mendoza's going to have weapons. He's got Bowers, he's got Genty, he's got Trey Tucker when he shows up. It really all depends on if the Raiders can surround him with a bunch of good receivers instead of receivers who they think are good just because they have a fast 40 time. There are positive signs though. They have a hell of a lot of cap space. They still have Max Crosby, who they're not trading. They still have Max Crosby, who looks like every fan base's wet dream just because he looks like he listens to Five Finger Death Punch. They know they're getting an unreal talent with impeccable character. Just don't ruin the kid, which is why I'm putting them in the we better hope our high draft picks pan out tier. Or for Fernando's case, we better freaking hope our high draft picks pan out tier. The LA Chargers, even though they just lost in the playoffs, I'm putting them in the at least Chris Collinsworth likes you tier. This team can be fun to watch. Chris Collinsworth will occasionally gasp at the things Justin Herbert's able to do. I like Herbert a lot, but there is truth to the fact that he is a hypothetical scenario quarterback. I've been thinking about this week. I think the reason that people give Justin Herbert that grace is because Herbert as a quarterback passes the eye test with flying colors. Like, Justin Herbert doesn't objectively have any bad qualities as a quarterback. He just hasn't put it together for one reason or another when the playoffs come around. So that's why I'm putting them at the at least Chris Collinsworth likes you tier. They have good players. Justin Herbert's a good quarterback. They have good fantasy players. They have a good coach, solid defense. They just can't put it together, and I'm leaving them there until they do. Now, before I get to the other LA team, if you like what we've seen so far, subscribe to the channel. I do plenty of comedic shorts. I have a lot of long form videos coming up. I have a lot of playoff reviews, previews, and I'm really excited to keep it going. But for now, back to the video. The LA Rams. This team is silly good. They have a great defensive unit, great passing attack, arguably the best coach in the league. And they're a perennial powerhouse, which is why I'm putting them in the Dynasty Watch tier. But the only thing that prevents me from fully believing it is Matthew Stafford's age. He's 38 years old. He's still performing at an MVP level. And what the Rams need for them to be a true dynasty is a succession plan from Matthew Stafford. If they can, look out. If they have an elite successor for Matthew Stafford, I am saying all of the uh-ohs. The Miami Dolphins. This one might be a hot take because they are certainly more fun than good, which could qualify them for the Chris Collinsworth tier. But they're in a really rough situation. They just fired Mike McDaniel. They're gonna have to divorce from Tua. Tyreek Hill might not be there long term. Jalen Waddle's kind of been a middling wide receiver 1 or 2. This team just isn't very good right now. And there's not a lot of reason for me to believe that they will make a true jump anytime soon. I am actually going to put them in the Lord have mercy on our souls tier. I really believe that. I don't see a lot of reason for optimism in Miami right as we speak. That could change. They don't have a top draft pick to get them a true successor to Tua. There are some free agents out there, but I don't believe that this situation is very good at all for the Dolphins. The Minnesota Vikings. Now, I was thinking about putting them in the draft picks tier just because of JJ McCarthy, but to me, I don't know if he's going to pan out to be a true elite, consistent franchise quarterback. He has good games. He has some rough games sometimes. He kind of seems like white Bryce Young. So I'm going to put them for now in the purgatory tier. A few other things worry me, like their cap situation isn't great. And also, Brian Flores might get a job somewhere soon. A big reason their defense is as successful as it is because of Brian Flores. That defense is good largely because of what Brian Flores has been able to scheme up. If he stays, that defense will be really good for a long time. Dallas Turner's had a great year. Andrew Van Ginkel's still been pretty good. And they have to rely on that defense because their offense is inconsistent and Jordan Addison can't stop trying to get on Mugshotty's Instagram page. They are in purgatory until further notice. The New England Patriots. Drake May. The New Orleans Saints. I like where this team is headed. The end of the year was really encouraging for the Saints. They have Kellen Moore, who's been a good head coach. Tyler Shuck really came into his own, which is why I am putting them in the same as above, but with a longer road there tier. Because they still have a lot they need to figure out. They need to figure out if Alvin Kamara is going to have a pina colada bender at Insert Sandals Resort here. They have adequate weapons, but Chris Olave really seems to be the only elite one. Jawan Johnson's pretty good. And worst of all, they're still really over the cap. They have a lot of cuts they need to make. Things are starting to look up for the Saints, and their division is super winnable. I just need to see a season-long performance from the Saints before I move them tiers up in this list. The New York Giants have a lot to work with. They have a top draft pick this year. They have a bunch of top draft picks on their roster as we speak. Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo are a buddy comedy that everyone loves. And it also seems like they're currently within striking distance of getting John Harbaugh. Yeah! So, with Dart, Scadaboo, their top draft picks of Malik Neighbors and Abdul Carter, their elite defensive line, but like I said, they still need to fix the rest of their defense, I'm going to put them in the we better hope our high draft picks pan out tier. The New York Jets. For the love of God, don't this up. The Philadelphia Eagles. A positive development for this team is that Kevin Patullo is no longer the team's OC. Launch that man into the next galaxy. Seriously. They're a fun team. Their defense is good. They've arguably the best defensive coordinator in the league, but their offense has good pieces, but they're inconsistent, largely because of their offensive coordinator who's house got egg. But there are questions they still need to answer. A.J. Brown, is he going to be on the team? Is Jalen Hurts actually a good passer? He's shown inconsistency, and they crumple to the ground in the playoffs as a result. But like I said, they can be super flashy. To the Chris Collinsworth tier you go. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Could it be anywhere else? The San Francisco 49ers. They got hurt. It's a major issue. Michael Williams' ACL, George Kittle's Achilles, Brandon Ayuk's ego. They suffered so many injuries. But I love this team and how well they're coached. They just need to stop sacrificing players so Christian McCaffrey stays healthy. I feel like CMC getting hurt would result in a Chernobyl explosion, but in reverse. Like everyone else gets healthy again. Like they're still in the playoffs after knocking off what may be an overrated Eagles team, but they still need to stay the course and they need to stay healthy. They're good, they're well coached, Brock Purdy is still slinging it, and I love what they're about. Which is why, for now, I am putting them into the listen to the encouraging old black woman tier. The Seattle Seahawks. I almost hesitate to put this team here, but I'm gonna do it. I'm going to put the Seattle Seahawks in the Dynasty Watch tier. I think Sam Darnold is a perfectly fine quarterback, but JSN is so good, and he's going to be good for a really long time. Their defense is truly unbelievable. Mike McDonald is a fantastic head coach. Their run game is underrated. I just love what this team is about right now. What's making me hesitate to put them in this tier? I think they need another number 2 receiver, and I want to see a little more consistency out of Sam Darnold. Other than that, they're on Dynasty Watch. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this one's hard. It really is. I could put them in the purgatory tier, and I honestly was going to, but I'm going to make a last-minute decision, but I'm going to put them in the same as above, but with a longer road to get there tier. Like, I think Baker Mayfield needs to get healthy. They might need to replace Mike Evans and Chris Godwin sooner than they realize, and I want to see them figure out if Todd Bowles is actually a good head coach. They won 1 game in November and December combined. I said what I said! Like, I don't see them taking that next step until Baker is fully healthy and the defense finds itself. So that's why I'm putting them in this tier. The Tennessee Titans, really appears that Cam Ward is the guy. He significantly improved in the second half of the year with a receiver core that is absolutely nothing worth writing home about. But with Cam Ward at quarterback, they're not in a terrible position by any means. They just need a good head coach who wasn't carried by Joe Burrow. If they can get elite pieces for their QB1 and improve their defense and get good defensive players outside of Jeffrey Simmons and Javondre Sweat, I stand by him, they'll be good sooner than a lot of people realize, which is why I'm putting them in the we better hope our high draft picks pan out tier. And finally, the Washington Commanders. Is Jaden Daniels the new RG3? God, I hope not. They're so fun. They better hope he pans out, which is why I'm putting them in the we better hope our high draft picks pan out tier. And it's mainly because of Jaden Daniels. He seems like he's on the RG3 career arc. Like, he looked so good in his rookie year, but injuries and declining play really hurt him in his second year. His defense didn't do them any favors, etc., etc. Like, Jaden Daniels is absolutely electric when things are going his way, and the organization was rightfully cautious in shutting him down when they had nothing left to play for. Marcus Mariota was good in relief of Jaden Daniels. Plus, you gotta nail this top draft pick and keep your damn dirty paws off of Caleb Downs. He's ours. And that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like this video, click the like button and subscribe to the channel for the sexiest sports content on the internet. But for now, stay tuned for more sports content that you didn't ask for.